I want to talk about how America is falling apart from within. When you have a weak leadership, when you have a weak government, you have chaos. And when you have chaos, you have destruction. And you see that is going on with America right now. I'm going to show you two videos and then I'm going to come back and talk to you.
Hamas is coming, at least according to the anti-Israel protesters that recently surrounded Union Station in Washington, D.C., in response to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's address to Congress. Hundreds of anti-Israel protesters took to the streets. This video shows them burning an effigy of Netanyahu, as well as replacing many American flags with Palestinian flags. Protesters also burned the Israeli flag and the American flag and painted graffiti on public property. The graffiti included phrases like Free Palestine, Long Live Intifada, and Hamas is coming. Scenes became tense and even violent when the U.S. Park Police attempted to stop protesters from taking down one of the American flags. Some of the protesters were filmed assaulting one of the officers, dragging him to the ground, and surrounding him. The U.S. Capitol Police reported that 6 people were arrested outside of the House gallery for unlawful behavior.
It is quite a contrast to what we saw yesterday in our nation's capital. How you would allow Hamas people to deface statues and buildings, to take down the American flag off a train station and to burn the flag and then put a Hamas flag up, that was a complete disgrace. Why aren't those people being arrested and prosecuted? I know they did that in other situations, but they don't want to do it in this one. That conduct should not be tolerated. You do not have a right to write death to America on a public statue with spray paint. You don't have a right to scribble Hamas on public buildings. You don't have a right to take on a public flagpole our American flag down and desecrate it and then put up a Hamas flag. So that would not have flown. That would not have been able to go in Florida. We would have stopped that. I have no doubt. Every jurisdiction in this state would not have allowed that to happen. Those folks need to be held accountable for what they're doing. But we also need to look as a country and recognize what we've seen since October 7th has been an outburst of anti-Semitism like we have not seen, certainly in my adult lifetime. And no one has done more than the state of Florida to combat anti-Semitism. If you look, since I became governor, first year as governor, we did the anti-Semitism bill for the universities to make sure we weren't becoming BDS factories. If you look at what we've done to give money for security for Jewish day schools, we've been doing that long before October 7th. On and on and on, we've stepped up and done what was right. And so this is an issue that we've taken seriously. But even with all that we had done leading up to October 7th, even with our recognition with the legislature and my office that anti-Semitism was a big problem, I did not think it is as bad or would be able to be so open like it has been since October 7th. So when I see these people protesting, rioting, defacing property, talking about death to America, talking about Hamas, spewing anti-Semitism, if you're on a visa, it should be revoked and you should be sent home. We should not be importing people into this country that hate our country, that have that kind of toxic ideology. It's just disgraceful and it's unacceptable. And I also think you have the leader of one of our strongest allies for my whole lifetime speaking in front of Congress, Prime Minister Netanyahu, and yet Kamala can't go there and greet him. How do you treat it's not a way to treat an ally. She had no interest. She has not condemned what happened at Union Station, the graffiti and the rioting and all the vile activity. That was something that she had nothing to say about. So this is serious stuff, and we've got to get smart, and we should not be politically correct about any of this stuff. You know, there are a lot of folks that really mean this country bad, and you've seen them come out in full force since October 7th, and they feel like they feel that they're bulletproof because nothing ever happens when they engage in this type of conduct. You will be held accountable in the state of Florida. You're not taking over our streets. You're not defacing our buildings. And you are not going to take over our public universities. And if you try, go ahead. Make my day.
The United States of America and Israel have been allies since 1949. So it's no secret what relationship America had with Israel. If you have a problem with Israel, why would you come to America? Why would you want to protest against a nation that you know, the nation that you're within, they're allies? I know based on our president, based on our vice president, it doesn't seem that way, but the United States of America is allies with Israel, and I don't see that ending anytime soon. So I don't understand why it was allowed for someone to come into this country that hates this country as well as hate your ally. I don't understand why it's okay. I feel that everybody who's in America should feel safe, especially if they're going to school, especially if they're going to work. They shouldn't be harassed for no reason at all. If they're minding their own business, then people should just allow them to go about their day. But then you have people that comes here and they cause chaos and nothing is done about it. They have no fear of America. How can you come to another country and cause chaos and attack their police officer with no fear of repercussions, no fear of being kicked out of the country? So what can we do as Americans to keep Americans safe? Like I said in another video I did, I'm not saying vote Republican, I'm not saying Democrat. I really don't care because I serve God. Jesus is my king, that's who I serve. But at the same time, I just want to bring awareness and bring focus to certain situations. And this is one of them. Kamala Harris, Vice President, has been, put in a position that since Joe Biden is not going to run for presidency for the next 4 years, that she has been, people have said that she has a chance to be able to run to be the president of the United States. She is married to a Jewish man, Doug Emhoff. He states that he's a proud Jewish man because he did the Passover in the White House. He's proud of his heritage. But your wife don't even stand up for your heritage. Your wife don't even stand up for Israel, a Jewish nation, the only Jewish nation in this world. And your wife don't stand up for it. Your wife don't say anything. Your wife don't condemn what's going on with Jewish citizens in America. So she's married to you, but she's not outspoken about this is wrong. And not just because her husband is Jewish, but you would think that would have some weight. But because it's wrong for people to come from another country to insult America and to insult people within the United States itself. If you are not protected in a country, if you don't feel safe in a country, especially a country that you live in, where are you going? Every person in America is supposed to be protected, is supposed to feel safe. But when you see that your president don't care, when you see the vice president don't care, and we still have an open border after the president, former President Donald Trump was almost assassinated, knowing that you have people that want to put a hit out on him. How can we as a nation trust her leadership when she's not even willing to stand up for her husband, who her husband represents? And like I said, it's not about the Jewish people, it's just about what's going on here in America. You have people saying death to America, death to Israel, but they're in this country and nothing's been done about it. Those people who was arrested for dragging the police was also released with no charges against them. So they can just no respect at all. And like I said, when you take down a country's flag and you put up your flag, you're basically saying, we have taken over. This belongs to us. That is what's going on in America right now because of the leadership that we have. And this isn't a joke, because like I always say, when you give a person an inch, they take a mile. When people are allowed to get away with certain things, then they say, okay, how far can we push it? Let's keep pushing. Let's do this. Let's do that. And that's what's going to happen if things aren't under control. When you look at that party, it's like they really don't care about the American citizen. They want American citizens to fight against each other, so they keep bringing up racial issues. They keep race baiting. You see, they always say, oh, vote for me because I'm black. If you don't vote for me, you're not black enough. When did that come into voting? I never understood where do my color come in, as if black people don't have common sense, if black people don't have book knowledge, as if black people only see color. No, black people want more offered to them than just, hey, I'm black. They want more than that. First and foremost, black people want respect from everybody, regardless of what color you are. Show respect to black people. We're willing to give respect to everybody else, but where's the respect back to us? And if you're the president of the United States, or want to be the president of the United States, don't be like, oh, you could, if you vote for me, you're gonna get this. No, be respectful. You can make your mouth say anything you want your mouth to say, but actions speak louder than words. Actions has always spoke louder than words. This is not a black-white thing. This is not a racial thing. But at the same time, when other people make it a black-white thing or a racial thing, it's hard not to speak on those levels. We are in this country together. That's the part that people don't understand. We are in this country together. It's like being on a ship. We're on this ship together. If it go down, we're all going down. And I want to read a verse to you. This is going to be Matthew 12:22. I'm sorry, Matthew 12:25. But Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself will not stand. That is happening with the United States. First, they tried to divide based on race. They tried to divide based on who got a shot or who didn't get a shot. They tried to divide based on Republican and Democrat. The whole time, now someone else done came into the picture. Someone else done came into the country because they allowed to have an open border. They allow people to come in that don't respect the country. And they do not want to defend that. They do not want to defend the United States of America. So, like I said, it doesn't matter Democrat or Republican. Who's willing to stand up for the United States, the United States of America? Who is willing to stand up for this country and get this country back on the right track? That should be the question. If you choose, whoever you choose to vote for, or if you choose to vote at all, that should be the question that you're asking when you're deciding who you're voting for.